So hello everyone and welcome back to day 32 of 100 Days of Code with me, Lilly Code. We're going to be continuing on with async await today. And in yesterday's video I'd said I was going to do modern JavaScript for the impatient, but from looking through the content I can't really code along with it. From what I see, I do want to do that course and I certainly will do it. But just for the purposes of being able to show you something, if I just listen, it's not really great, and I can't really show the course because it's not my course, is what I'm thinking. So I had a look back at the course we've been doing for this whole thing, so that's good. React, the complete guide. And Max, in a later chapter, goes into Redux, and then he also goes into asynchronous programming. So this is down in chapter 18. We're already on chapter 11 or something. We're absolutely flying. So I'm going to just hop ahead to chapter 18, do chapter 18 and 19, which covers React, Redux, how Redux works, all different things. And then we have advanced Redux, which is where the asynchronous code comes into it. And we do some async there, and yeah. So I'm just going to skip ahead later on and start from down here at this project. So that's what we're at, guys. So I'm just watching the slides here and I'll let you know. So also, fantastic, a friend of mine reached out to me. Thanks so much, Ryan. You're the best guy who taught me React a long time ago, actually. Or what? It wasn't React. Was it React? What did you teach me, Ryan? It was a long time ago, but he taught me a few skills in coding. We were coding friends anyway, but coding friends. And he seen my video and realised I was stuck on that blob thing yesterday and not fully understanding what a blob was. So he sent me over some information and pictures which aren't of a high enough quality, so I'm actually going to just write them out in code for you guys tomorrow. But Ryan is a genius, and thanks so much. So yeah, so he said basically when you're using the built-in fetch API, the first promise you wait for is the actual request. So you send away your request and that's a promise. So if you await this, you get a response object, right? Then the functions on the response objects also return promises. So this is where callback hell can come into it. So response.blob or response.json. So this is just a way to view that response coming back, to get the data back from the response, require you to use an await to or a then catch block. So I'm going to go through the code and his explanation of this tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and in the meantime I'm going to continue on with Max's course and see what Max has to say about it. So I'm just watching the video here and seen a good course on Udemy as well, but it was 89 quid, so I'll wait till that goes on sale. So yeah, let's just have a look. So I'm just watching the video as always, guys, and we'll keep you in the loop. Okay, so we've been managing our state throughout this whole project with the use state that we have in React. But Max is saying now that state can actually be split into 3 different definitions of what state is. So you can have your local state, you can have cross-component state, and then you can have an app-wide state, which makes sense. So you have local state in that one component and you're tracking the state of something. So if something changes or is switched on or off after the component is loaded, that's tracking the state of that thing within the component. You can have cross-component state where you need to, if something happens here, you want something else to happen over here. And then you have your app-wide state, so state that's tracked across the whole app. So I'm going to keep on listening and keep you guys updated as always, so stay tuned. So sorry guys, but I just have to watch the video, you know. And especially seeing as I've jumped so far ahead, I don't want to skip these slides. Normally doing this, I just sort of skip these and then go back and watch them in my own time, because this is boring for you guys. But seeing as I've hopped so far ahead, you know, I need to listen to what you're saying now at this stage. Okay, yeah, so if we're using the local state, if we're managing the state locally of something, then we just manage state which is internal to a component. So within a component, we do it with use state and use reducer. That's how you do it locally. If you're talking about cross component state management, we do this with props, prop chains and prop drilling, which we've seen that as well. We've also been doing that. And then app wide state, so state that affects the entire app. So for example, user authentication statuses, so whether a user is logged in or not, that's app-wide state. So Redux solves this problem of app-wide state. Yeah, so we could use something in React. We've already used it when we were doing our logging in, which was use context. Use context was able to pull out that particular thing and use it across the application. So that's the React approach, or you can at least do it in React like that with app-wide state management. But Redux is also another way to do that. So React Context and Redux manage this app-wide state for us. Great. Redux is a state management system for cross-component state management or app-wide state management. Okay, so the reason why we might need Redux instead of just using use context is use context has some potential disadvantages. So you can use context and Redux, but I'm just going to listen now to what are the downsides of use context and why Redux might be better. So I've heard loads about Redux, but I haven't had loads of experience. I'm just learning React, so this is great, you guys, you know, we're flying. It's actually so funny how much easier the learning curve has been coming to React after having a few years experience in Angular. So keep on practicing, guys, and you'll be surprised, you know, you'll surprise yourselves eventually. You'll be scratching your head for a while, but then you start surprising yourself. So just stick with it, you know, it's a very valuable skill, that's what I'd say. Okay, so for a large enterprise application, for a very large application, use context may not be the best approach. So use context is ready to be used for low frequency unlikely updates like locale or theme. It's also good to use in the same way old context was used for static values and then propagate updates through subscriptions. It's not ready to be used as a replacement for all flux-like state propagation. Thanks. Max is the best, honestly. I've shouted him out on Twitter a few times, like not even, you know, intentionally, but well, intentionally as well. He's fabulous. But like someone asked me, oh, what's your plans for the 100 days? And I said, well, I'm doing Max's React course. I imagine I'll have that finished in the 100 days, because it's a really long course actually. It's like 36 hours or something, which is 36 hours watch time. When you start coding, like, it takes way longer. But so do keep that in mind. You know, if you want to try and do a project in maybe a month, pick an 8-hour course or something. Depends on how often you're putting into it as well, but an hour a day if you're working is good enough, you know. It's great actually, even 30 minutes, 15 minutes, just do it daily would be my advice. But yeah, so I said, oh well, I'm going to do the React course. I'm just still listening to this here and I'm watching, and I can speak at the same time, so I'm not just waffling for the sake of waffling. But yeah, so I said that I was going to do Max's course, and that due to his doing his Angular course, that's actually the reason why I'm a programmer. Like, I followed his course, and you know, that's what taught me Angular. And then also I got a job. I'm working in the workplace. That severely helps as well. You know, you need to be getting your hands dirty with this, but that comes after doing these projects where you learn the basics and you get up to scratch with a framework. And I don't even think it matters what framework or what language you choose, because if you're learning the skills, there's a job out there for all these skills really. So don't even stress too much about what framework or what language or anything. Just start learning and make it a daily habit, regardless of the time. Whatever time you can put in, do it every day. And yeah, he seen my tweet and he was just like, thanks so much for the kind words or whatever. He's just great, you know. I really like him. You can hear in his courses, first of all, the most important thing is he's knowledgeable. He explains the concepts well, and he just seems like a very nice guy. So go Max, I'm in your corner. Yeah, love him. He's great. If you haven't noticed, like, I've just been cheerleading him on for this entire 100 days, because I am following his course and he's explains things very well, and this is what you are dying for in programming. Like, someone just explained this to me, you know, in a way that I'll understand it, and I feel like he does that for me. So, and will also do it for you. Check him out on YouTube, guys. He's on YouTube as well, and on Udemy. He's on loads of platforms. His information is always in the description box below, because I'm following his courses. So okay, so I think I'm going to just skip ahead to when he starts coding, because he's still explaining, which is useful, but like, practice. Here we go. Woo! Perfect. Okay. Oh my god. So we're going to just create a brand new empty project. This is exciting. So what am I doing? Let's have a look. So, okay. So, right in here, I'll create a new folder and call this async, because I wanted to show you these images, but the quality just isn't great. So I'll rewrite the code and I will explain it. That came from my friend Ryan. Thanks so much, Ryan. Such a competent programmer as well. That guy is so smart. So thank you, Ryan. You know, I think you're the bomb. And then we will create a new folder, and this one is going to be for this current chapter, which is chapter 19, if I'm not mistaken. 18. Cool. So chapter 18. Alright. Cool. And now we will just do what Max is doing. So we want a new JavaScript file, Redux demo .js. Cool. Okay, so he did say that you need Node.js installed, which You need Node.js install for all of this, guys. So I have a video on setting up your development environment. Check that out if you're trying to follow along with these in some way, shape or form. Just don't know if that's the best idea, but I hope if you are like, yeah, of course it is. Like, I'm coding, any issues, I'm not coding without you guys. So it is a good idea. But yes, I have a video on setting up your development environment, getting this thing in your code editor, Visual Studio Code, getting Node.js installed, getting GitHub set up. So do check that out if you're new to this and you're not sure what that's all about. And now we're going to write this file. So let's go. Cool. Cool. So now we're going to just open up our terminal, navigate into this folder, which we can see now we're in the async away folder. Cool. So if I do ls, we can see what's in here, and that is different. Oh no, I did that on Mac as well. Okay, it's the same. I'm on my Windows right now. I sort of forgot for a moment. So we'll just cd into chapter 18. So we're in this folder now. That's moving us in there. And now we want to do an npm init from in here. Cool. Oh no. What? Oh, that's fine. So basically, what Max said there is you could have ran npm init with -y, and if you do that, it initializes it and answers all them questions. So that's what was going on there. So then I was like pressing y, which I didn't actually have to do because I set some of these values to y, but that doesn't matter, really doesn't matter. This is just like a file that's in there, so we will not worry about that. We're just going to continue. We have our npm initialized, and that's the bit that matters. So now we're going to run npm install Redux. So cool. Awesome. So happy I'm learning about Redux. This is exciting. So I'll just click enter. Cool, you can see everything great. And there we go. Look at this. Cool. So now in the Redux demo file, we can use Redux. So we'll import Redux, or like this. Yeah, I've seen this before. Okay. So we require, maybe I have used this, but I just never really realized it was Redux, if you get me. Okay, so the central piece of Redux is the store. So we're going to start off making our store because it's a very central part of Redux. And then we do Redux, or no, const store equals Redux dot create store. And why do I have all these errors? And the reason I'm doing this video, guys, is because I want to, oh, that's why. Because I want to get to the async away part, but so, you know, we're getting there anyway. So this is supposed to be const Redux equals require. There we go. Now our errors are gone. And we're going to pass something into these parentheses. Or no, we're not. We're going to create another function. And we're going to do it with an anonymous arrow function. And this is counter reducer. So like so. So the reducer function always takes in the old state and the dispatched action. So this is our reducer here, a counter reducer. So cool. And it always returns a new state output or a new state object. So the same input always leads to the same output. That makes sense. So we always pass in the old state and the dispatched action, and we always get out a new state. Cool. So in here, we need to pass in the state and the action. Yeah, I have seen these before, yeah. Cool. new state, surely. Okay, so we're going to return a new object. Okay. So we'll have counter. Yeah, so we don't want it to be 0, we want it to be the current counter and add 1. So this makes sense now, because basically what's going on is we're passing in our old state, which will be the current count that we're at. And then, so we pass in the state and the action and it returns us a new object. So what we're going to return here, the new object, is incrementing that counter. So that's what's going on here. That'll be our new object. And then in our create store function, we pass in the reducer. So this is a bit similar to the React way. Like I'm seeing similarities between the React approach of doing this as well. So that's good. They're tying in together in my brain. And where are we at? Sure, look, we'll let you go. We'll let you go as well. And you can head on home as well, and we'll just continue on. And then someone needs to subscribe to the source. So we'll have a counter subscriber. And this is a function that gets no parameters. And we do a get state. And so this is the counter subscriber is triggered whenever we update the state, and then we can get the state that it previously was at. So get state is a method that's available on this store with the create store. So once we declare something and we have the create store being called, we can get the state of that thing then. And it gives us the latest state snapshot. It gives us the latest state snapshot. How does he say these things? After it was updated. So we get the latest state of the thing after it's been updated. Cool. Yeah, so this is going to give us the latest state, so we can actually assign this to something so we can use it. So we'll say const latest state is equal to this, and then we'll console log it out just so we can have a look at what the latest state is when we are developing. Console log latest state. Don't want the old one, I want the latest one. Oh, terrible joke. It's not even a joke, is it? Made me laugh anyway. Hope it made somebody else laugh. So, right, okay. So now we just make Redux aware of the subscriber function by doing store.subscribe. And the subscribe method is expecting a function. So that's what we've made our counter subscriber for. Okay, so the counter function and the reducer, the counter reducer and the counter subscriber are executed by Redux when Redux is ready to run them. You know, we don't call them. We just set them up and then Redux calls them. Okay, yeah, so now we have a subscriber, which is here, and we're subscribing to our subscriber down here, and we have our reducer. So all we're missing is this action. So we're going to create that action now and see what's going on there. Okay. Okay, so now what Max has done is run, well, I'll just keep watching for a minute because he's, well, it's good to show you guys the error as well. So he went to the terminal and he said, now that we've done that bit, we can type in node and the name of the file in order to run it. So node redux-demo.js. So this is going to run that file, and we see that we have an error, and the error is that it cannot read property module not found. So it can't find the module, right? So let's just make this a bit bigger. So throw error, cannot find module Redux demo. So okay, let's just, yep, okay. So we'll keep watching and he's going to fix this error now. So we don't have a state yet. So we should give state a default value. So the first time it runs, it has a state value. So we say counter and 0. CD chapter 18, and then okay. Why is his working? Latest state. Cool. Store. So we still don't have an action. So that's literally all Max has in this file as well. Okay, so I think this is in the wrong folder. Yeah, that's the problem. So let's move that in. There we go. So guys, I had not got this in the folder with all of the Redux stuff. So that's why I was getting the wrong error. I should have been getting a different error. So now if we cd into chapter 18, not into node modules. So we'll just do cd back out 1. And now we're in chapter 18, and now if we run node redux demo, we should be seeing a different error. Store.subscribe. Store.subscribe is not a function. Okay. That's okay. Sub, you gotta have your spelling right if you want a code. So subscribe. Do that to my channel. Go and subscribe. So yeah. So now we'll just go back to our terminal and run that again. So if we cd back into chapter 18, there we go, and we try and run that command again. All right. Okay. So, cool. At least we're not getting an error, so let's just continue. data state. That shouldn't make any difference. Removing a comment in a console log will do absolutely nothing, but for sanity's sake. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay. So now we should actually dispatch something. So we do a store.dispatch. And you know what actually will be even handier? All this messing about is if I had a new command prompt and did the command prompt down here rather than up where I have it. So where am I? Oh yeah, I'm in sites. Sites, max, async await, git bash here. Cool. So now we have our git bash within this folder. So that's all good in the hood. And now I'll cd into, and I'll make this text way bigger so you guys can see it. So I'll cd into, and even bigger than that, but just give us a minute. cd into chapter 18. Okay, and I'll make this, oh for gads, even bigger. And then from here we will do what we were just doing. So we'll do node Redux demo, the name of the file. So this is just to run this file .js. Cool. Okay, so grand, that's what we've got there. And now we don't need to keep taking up space up above, so that's better. Cool. So let's keep watching. So we're going to do store.dispatch, and this is calling a function which we pass an object into, and we're going to give it some parameters. So we have type, which is an identifier, and it's generally a string. Okay. So we'll give this a type of increment because that's what we're doing. And if we save that and execute this again, so we can see that worked. Our code has ran, our counter was initialized at 1 on a previous run, and now we have incremented our counter to 2. So let's do it again. Hey, why isn't it free? So I don't know why it hasn't I don't know why it hasn't incremented more, but we'll keep on watching. So let's just make sure counter is equal to state.counter plus 1. Yep, our initial state is 0. So okay, let's just keep on watching. So max is just says counter 2 as well, so maybe it's not supposed to continue to increment at the moment just yet. Maybe we still need to do some more stuff, so let's just hang tight and continue to watch. Okay. Okay, yeah. So typically what we're doing with Redux is you want to pass in different actions so it can do different things, you know. So at the moment we just have it doing one thing, incrementing. But that's why we're passing in this second property, sorry. That's why we're passing in the second parameter into this function, because we have the action which is going to allow us to do different actions in here basically. So currently we're only doing one thing, but by using this action we can do multiple things in here and then switch them with the action. So here we'll check if the action type action.type is equal to, for example, increment, because that's one of the types that we did call. Then we want to return this. Cool. So now if we run this file again, let's just have a look. Yeah, we get counter 1, and the reason we get counter 1 now is because we haven't incremented it yet, so it's starting off with the initial state. Why do we get that again, Max? Okay, so we now get counter 1 because for the initialization it's not incremented, so that's what's going on. And then we can dispatch other actions as well. Yeah, so we could have a decrement dispatch. Decrement. Oh shoot, yeah, I get it. Okay. And then we're going to have underneath here, if the action is equal to decrement, action.type is equal to decrement, then we want to reduce it by 1. So we will return, counter, count is state dot counter -1, which is just going to decrement it by 1. And then because we have, this is where we're calling it, so here we've told it what to do. So we're saying store.dispatch and increment and store.dispatch decrement. So these are running these two things there now. So we can see we started off with 1 because we came in here, we started off with a counter of 0. I was wondering how it was actually running, but this is what's running it. This is the thing that's calling that function. So we started off with 0, but then, so we start off with a state of 0, right? So we've set up all this code and it's not been called yet, it's just been set up. Then when we come down here to store.dispatch and we pass in the type increment, it comes up here and runs our reducer. So dispatch runs the reducer. So this gets run then, and we start off with a counter of 0, and then it comes in here, and if action type equals increment, which it does, that's our first thing, our first dispatch, we've told it has the type increment. So it will come in here and it will increase the counter to 1, which is why it goes from 0 up to 1. Then it comes down here and runs the second dispatch, which is of type decrement. So it comes in here. We already have a state, so it doesn't need to set an initial state. Our state has been updated now to 1. So we just pass in our state of 1. It comes in here. It seems that the action type is indeed decrement, and it runs this block of code and returns out. So this is returning counter, state.counter, which is 1, -1, which is 0. So that's why we get these two values down here. So I was wondering, how is this 1 already? But that makes sense because these are calling our reducer function. So great, we're getting somewhere, guys. It's becoming clear. I hope it's becoming clear for you guys as well. Cool. Okay. That's the heart of Redux and how it works, guys. We've already covered the heart of Redux. Lovely. Oh. So now we're going to have a look at how we would use Redux in a React application. Awesome. Okay, great. So now we're going to just set up our project, and Max has provided us with some code, and with this project then we're going to test Redux within React. So we are on chapter 18. I better best just pull up this code and get it going for you guys here. So yeah, you don't really need to see all my files. There are just some files in there. So although there's nothing in there anyway. But where are we? We're here. There we go. We're on chapter 18, baby. So chapter 18. Extract. Coolaboola. let's browse. Where do we want to put this? So sites, let's go with sites. That's where I put my sites. So in here, yeah, let's go there. Awesome. Select folder. Cool. Extract. Great. Cool. So that's just extracting. It'll only be a second, and I'll just go and get it ready for you guys. Don't know why I'm so sing-songy today, but why not? Why not? So now we have our file here, number 11. So I'm just going to open this with code. This is the file we're going to be working with, and this is our new React project that we are going to check out Redux on and get Redux working within this, and then we're going to get onto async await soon enough. So we're getting there, and I'm going to just open up my terminal, go to new terminal, and in here now I am going to just do npm install. Yeah, so first of all I need to cd into the code folder 01, the starting files, and then let's just do an ls to make sure we're on the right track here. There's our package.json. So this is the file we want to spin up by doing npm install. This will install all the packages listed in that package.json. So this just takes a little moment, and then we'll run our project. So to save you guys the hassle, I'll just pause this for a minute. I think sometimes, oh, should I pause it for all the times when I'm waiting for things, which would be a great approach, but I would just be here all day, you know. And this is 100 days of code, real life, real action, what a real programmer has to do. So we just keep it real. And so npm start now, and this will spin up our project for us. We can see actually there we have a lot of vulnerabilities, so let's just cancel that for a moment. And just to show you this, so this is said that some of the packages, we have a few errors here, 8 moderate, 18 high, and 1 critical, and you can just run npm auto fix to fix these. And what it generally is that different things have been have been upgraded basically. So you can see here, warning, Babel plugin, this particular plugin that we're using, which will be listed in that package.json, it requires a peer dependency. So we need to also install Babel core if we want to use this Babel plugin bug fix v8 spread parameters and optional chaining plugin. We also need to add Babel core, but that's not installed. So it gives you warnings like that, and you can go through and do them manually, or else you can do npm. And sometimes you still do need to do them manually if it doesn't work, but we just do npm auto fix, and it fixes a lot of those for us. Whatever it can automatically fix, it will automatically fix. So I just need to stretch. Been sitting down all day long. But soon enough I'm going to have a nice takeaway with my dad. I was given a voucher for a takeaway by my job, so that's lovely. So we're going to get a nice takeaway, and we're going to watch a Clint Eastwood movie. So looking forward to that very, very soon. So now we can do npm start and fire that up. So awesome. And let me just have a listen to Max while that's going, so we can get ahead of ourselves. Okay. So he said, what? That doesn't look like the project. Don't know what happened there. What? This is chapter 11. Oh, I ran the wrong project. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. So we're on 18. Where's 18? There is 18. Okay. So yeah, when I fired it up, I got the thing we've already built. So we were working on this just before I decided to go rogue and start learning async await. So we will be coming back to this project. I was really enjoying that, but I just want to learn async await at the moment. So yeah, I'm switching to async await, and we'll go back to that meal ordering app, and I'll keep you updated when I do that. You'll see it in the name of the videos as well, so we'll come back to that, don't worry. So I'm going to open a different folder. Actually, I opened the wrong folder. So we need this chapter 18 folder opened. So right, we're in here now, and then we'll go to our terminal and go new terminal, cd code 01. I'm guessing it's the same setup, yeah, and then we'll do dir just to make sure there's our package.json, npm install, and it actually didn't take that long last time, so we'll just wait. Sometimes I've been pausing this because it seemed to take a while, but we're going quick today. I was just thinking, you know, should I have spoke so soon, but it was actually really quick last time, so we'll just give it a moment. And then we're going to do npm install Redux if we don't have to fix any of the packages, because first we'll do npm Auto Fix if that's the case, but we'll be told by npm if we need to do npm Auto Fix. You can see we do have some warnings coming up there, so I'm just going to move a little bit because man, oh man, I feel stiff. So the life of a developer. That's okay. I just keep adding stuff into this Git repo, like maybe, who knows. Okay, so node modules is in there, okay. Because yeah, this repo is getting big. Okay, yeah, so we need to run an npm Auto Fix, which is cool. Just to fix some of these vulnerabilities. It'll probably fix like the majority of them. It doesn't normally always get all of them, I find, but still your project is runnable, so we can move on from here. We won't worry about it for the purposes of what we're doing right now. So like loads of them require a manual review and could not be updated. So okay, let's just see if moving ahead works anyway. So we'll npm install, because we just have to go and like look through documentation and figure it out, and if it works anyway, you know, I want to get to async await. So npm install Redux to install Redux within here, and then we'll do npm start and see what happens. 10,000 changes. Oh wow. 10,000 pending changes. Wonderful. So just thought that was amusing. Okay, great. So now we'll just try and do npm start and see what happens. I'm thinking it's going to work. Yeah. Obviously, if you're in production, or, you know, yeah, if you're in production, you would want those errors to be solved. But for the purposes of making a small little app where, like, I just want to say, get into the coding concepts, like, it doesn't really matter if it has a few errors, building npm, the packages, if it's going to work, because I'm more focused on the functionality, what we're actually building here, and learning those concepts. So that's why I'm just not bothered and skipping ahead. So I'm listening here now to the video again. Okay. So we've installed our React package, and we also want to install, so we'll just cancel that for the moment, our server running with ctrl and c, like so, and then we do npm install. We want React Redux as well, and I'll just keep listening to make sure he doesn't go and install anything else. Okay, no, so that's grand. and then we'll do npm start again. So cool. Okay, cool. Oh, excuse moi. Sorry. So, we're going to come in here. Cool. So we're just going to come into our project here. Number 1 is our starting project, and within our source file here, we're going to create a new folder, and the folder is going to be called store. And what we're going to do is set up. So this is our React project now. We have a React project. You can see that this component has been built, so we have a Redux counter, and a counter value should display, and toggle counter is a button that we should be clicking that's going to change that value of the counter. But we need to set all that up, so that's what we're about to do, just to learn about Redux in React. So within our store folder, we're going to create a file called index.js, and we're going to do what we just did in the previous video, or the previous just before this, I should say, when we first just set up Redux and seeing how Redux works. So we're going to do the same things that we did before to set up Redux here within a React project. So we import create store. So this time we're using the React syntax for doing this. So we import it like this from Redux. Then we want to declare our constant store, which is the create store function. Cool, same as what we did before. And we also want to create our reducer, so const counter reducer, which is equal to, we pass in our current state and our action. So our state is going to be our initial state, which is counter 0. And then we also have our action. So same as before, great. And then we open up our function here. And we just want to do the same thing again. So we check if our type, so our action.type is equal to increment. And then what we want to do is return the incremented counter. So return and counter is going to be equal to state, because we want the current state, the counter, plus 1. So cool. And then we can add in our semicolons, and we can also do the same for reducer. So if action.type is equal to reducer or decrement decrement, then we want to do the same thing, return counter is equal to state.counter, because we want the current state of the counter, and to update the counter with that current state, -1 this time, because we're decrementing. So that's coolaboola. And then we're just going to return our state, return state. And if you have an ESLinter or linter, it will tell you to leave a space before your return statement, so we'll just do that as well while we're at it for good code practice. So now in our create store, we can call our counter reducer function. But what we'll do instead of calling increment and decrement in here is we'll call it elsewhere in the app. So we'll just export default this so we can use this elsewhere. So we export out our store. Great. Okay, great. So the video is not loading, the next one, and I feel like we've got to a good place now in the code. We have set up our
Redux within our React application. We've set up our store, which is the main proponent of a Redux. When you're using Redux, your store is a very central piece of that. So now we're going to learn how to actually interact with this store and use Redux within the React application, but we have our main project set up and we're ready to go. So I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I'll be back on to you in the morning. Well, it's actually late here in the evening, so I'm going to just go and enjoy watching a nice movie with my dad now, The Outlaw Josie Wales. Yeah, an old Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah, so we're going to watch that together and get a nice takeaway, something to enjoy eating together. And I just hope you have a wonderful day as well, whatever that may entail, whether go for a walk or do some coding or whatever you're going to do. So enjoy yourselves. Thanks so much for joining me, Lilly Code. Really appreciate it. And if you like this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel, as it just makes me